order, and if we could get everyone to get to their seats. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. We'll go ahead and ask the secretary to call the roll to see if we have a quorum. I believe we do.
Gonzalez.
Present.
Bigelow.
Present.
Bloom. Bonilla. Bonta. Calderon. Chang. Daly. Eggman. Gallagher. Garcia. Hernandez. Holden. Jones. Obenorty. Quirk.
Here.
Santiago. Wagner. Weber. McCarty. For Wood. Okay. Mr. McCarty is here filling in for Mr. Wood today, and would let the record reflect that. We will be hearing our first bill of the day. That's SB 1186. Ms. Gonzalez, this is the Laura bill.
Thank you, Vice Chair and committee members. SB 1186 would appropriate approximately 5.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Seeing a second from Ms. Bonilla, would you like to continue your presentation?
It basically is the Victims' Compensation and Government Claims Board for wrongful convictions, $5.3 million. We owe it to these folks. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Is there any witnesses in support?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very briefly, Ignacio Hernandez on behalf of the California Attorneys for Criminal Justice and Support, and also on behalf of Obi Anthony, who's a friend and asked me to be here. He's one of the individuals that's whose claim is in the bill today. Spent 17 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Was exonerated. He's waited a few years for this claim. He wants to thank he asked me this morning to thank you for moving this bill forward at the appropriate time, and just to let you know that he's been doing really well. He actually has started a new organization called Exonerated Nation that he will be helping other individuals who are wrongfully convicted. And so he's really a testament to just what a strong will, and he's really done well with himself in the last 4 years that he's been out. And just want to thank you for the support.
Thank you very much. Are there other witnesses in support? Witnesses in opposition? Department of Finance?
Matt Almy, Department of Finance. We have a support position on this bill because it provides $5.3 million to pay claims approved by the Claims Board.
Thank you very much. Any questions from members? Seeing none, we had a motion by Mr. Quirk and a second by Ms. Bonilla. This item gets out on an A roll call. So as soon as the chair gets back, we'll let her decide which item she would like to take next. Oh, I know which one. Oh.
Is Mr. Gray here? Yeah, Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray will be presenting on AB 2863. We are going to have a discussion today.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair, members. AB 2863, as many of you are aware, will authorize and put in place a much-needed regulatory framework for iPoker here in California. Since 2008, the legislature has held numerous hearings, taken hours of testimony on the issue, explored the challenges surrounding the potential authorization of the iGaming industry. Over the past 8 years, there have been countless meetings held among the various stakeholders, interested parties, both supporting and opposing the concept of iPoker here in California. Just this year alone, I have held numerous stakeholder meetings with all involved industries and parties. Just this Monday, we had our fourth tribal stakeholder meeting and plan to have another in 2 weeks. While these discussions have taken place over the better part of a decade, Californians have continued to play poker on illegal and unregulated websites that have no oversight. It has been reported that well over 1 million Californians are playing iPoker on websites run by offshore companies that are not regulated or licensed by any U.S. government entity. These poker players are at the mercy of unscrupulous operators who may cheat them out of their money with absolutely no recourse. It's time we pass a sensible iPoker framework in California, allow consumers to want to play to do so in a safe, fair, and regulated environment. I believe we're closer than ever to accomplishing this goal. AB 2863 is a product of hours of meetings, negotiations. I have listened to all feedback and made careful decisions on how to address each issue in a fair manner. The two largest roadblocks have been whether or not horse racing should be able to get a license and the suitability of potential applicants for licensure. We addressed the first issue this past fall. Many of you remember we had an iPoker bill last year. We moved it through this committee onto the floor in a framework fashion. We worked on these same issues. We parked it on the floor and went to work over the fall on those two primary issues. And we were able to come up with a creative revenue sharing model to address the horse racing license issue. And so the bill before you today, and again, the debate 2 years ago was on one side, horse racing in or anybody in, no bad actor language, no suitability language. Today you have a bill before you that has both. So we have addressed both of the issues raised by the opposition. While that issue of horse racing is off the table as a licensee in this bill, much of the discussion in subsequent meetings has moved to the suitability issue of potential applicants. As I said, there's suitability language in this bill. We have not yet come to a consensus on this issue. Since the bill passed out of GO committee 19-0 in April, I have continued to work with stakeholders and hold meetings. These meetings led to the development of amendments that have further strengthened the suitability standards in AB 2863. And members, those are the amendments that were taken last week and that are in print in the bill today. These amendments established a fair tax and fee network that benefits the state. The amendments established a graduated tax rate based on the size of the internet poker industry, established a one-time license deposit of $12.5 million for licensed operators, created stronger suitability standards for licensed service providers, specifically adding in a rebuttable presumption for potential bad actors, and allowed regulators to address the issue of tainted assets, of service providers to limit the use of previously acquired assets or infrastructure in the new legal internet poker market. With all that said, the bill in print right now more than ever accomplishes what is most important and sometimes gets lost in the discussion. It protects consumers. AB 2863 extends consumer protections to Californians who play online poker, ensures that revenues from online poker are realized in California, and protects the public interest by ensuring various aspects of online poker are sanctioned and highly regulated by the state. This bill ensures that online poker games are fair, played by persons of legal age who are located here in California and using advanced technologies to identify and restrict access to minors. AB 2863 not only protects Californians from illegal offshore enterprises, but also establishes safeguards against compulsive gambling, money laundering, fraud, and identity theft. Members, each year that the California legislature and the various interests fail to agree on an iPoker bill, we put consumers in harm's way, and the state of California loses out on revenues that might be used to provide essential services like public safety, health care, social services, and education. Last year at our iPoker info hearing, I said I was committed to putting in hours and time necessary to further discussions. I believe I have lived up to my promise. Through good faith discussions with all stakeholders, we are closer than ever to passing an iPoker bill. And today I recommit to continue to work with all the stakeholders in an open and inclusive manner, and I will make every effort to achieve consensus on the remaining issues surrounding iPoker. And with that, I think we have some folks with us to present from the various affected parties.
We're going to have go ahead and hear from speakers in support and speakers in opposition. I just want to start by commending the author, and I know you and I have spent too many hours together on this, so I can't imagine the number of additional hours you have spent. We are attempting to get at a iPoker bill, and I think very much the policy committee spoke clearly to that. And I think this committee, we are going to continue to work on the fiscal issues, the issues that ensure that the state of California is protected, that iPoker as it is established in California is competitive and and long-standing, that we have revenue that's being generated that can be used by the general fund, and the committee's amendments were my attempt to get there on some of these fiscal issues. We'll talk more about that after. We'll hear from supporters and opponents, and then we'll talk about next steps, I think, if that's all right, and we'll hear from committee at that point.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. If we can start with the supporters, and we're going to ask for 2 speakers, 2 minutes each, and
Madam Chair, might I ask given the scope of industries and Californians affected by this bill, if we might allow 4 speakers, that would allow somebody from certainly the card club, tribal, horse racing, and labor, all affected by the provisions of this bill, to at least have an opportunity to weigh in. There are obviously more than that here, but if the committee might entertain that, we'd certainly appreciate that.
can the 4 speakers speak for a minute, or do they need 2 minutes each?
We have 30 seconds. Mr. Ramirez will be speaking on behalf of
We could certainly ask them to be brief.
So I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask for a total presentation that doesn't exceed 6 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bigelow. And that'll be the same for the opposition. And I don't.
Thank you.
For the opposition as well. Whoever wants to speak for however long, but a total of 6 minutes is what we're going to try to stick to here.
Thank you,
today.
Madam Chair. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Let me proceed.
Hello, good morning. My name is Ken Ramirez, and I'm the Secretary for the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians. I'm here today to ask for our support and to have a little dialogue in regards to what we've gone through for the last 9 years. It has been 9 years of diligent work that we have been inclusive and work with many legislators in regards to iPoker. More so, we've been working with Adam Gray in regards to AB 2863. And we feel that we've come to a place where the language is something that we can accept and live with. We have 21 in our coalition, strong and growing. And so it's come to a point where we'd like to get this bill moved sooner rather than later. We all know that it's costing the state money. We're losing out on revenues to the state. And so by moving this forward and your support, we're looking to come out with a good product that's going to be workable for everyone.
And this is Charles Martin with Morongo Band of Mission Indians. We support the councilman from San Manuel and the tribe's position.
Madam Chair and members, Barry Broad on behalf of the Teamsters and the Jockeys Guild, 2 of the unions involved in this industry. My friend Renee Bayardo is out there from SEIU. They're also very involved in this. The horse racing industry, of course, made a huge concession in these discussions. It's no longer a licensee, but our industry gets mitigation. We've been buffeted by various forms of gaming, and this bill will specifically provide for our unions money for things like retirement, health care, and so on that are much needed and have suffered as a result of the changing economics. And so this bill is very important to us and the integrity of that. We commend Assemblymember Gray for working on what is a very difficult and thorny issue and moving it forward. And we hope this bill can move out of this committee with this intact, with the bill intact, doing what is intended to do, and would urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairwoman Gonzalez. Thank you, committee members. Paulo Band of Mission Indians, Robert Smith, Tribal Chairman. Would like to move this bill forward. We've spent countless amount of hours, resources, as well as the state. We think it's good for California, consumer protection, and we support your aye vote. Thank you.
Josh Rubenstein, Del Mar Racetrack. The horse racing industry has submitted a letter in support of AB 2863. And I realize there seems to be a lot of hand-wringing about the legalization of internet wagering, but I'm here to tell you today that the horse racing industry has been conducting internet wagering for 16 years. We've been doing it in a licensed, regulated fashion. It's currently 40% of our revenue stream in the state. And I'm telling you, this is something that can happen, and we've been doing it for many, many years.
Thank you.
Keith Sharp on behalf of Commerce Casino, Hawaiian Gardens Casino, Bicycle Casino, and various small card rooms that have submitted letters of support to you, Madam Chair. We support this bill. We thank Member Gray for the hard work that he's put into this bill. It's been a long road. We're well aware of suitability standards as we operate under the Gambling Control Act, and this bill borrows much from that act. We believe our regulators are well positioned now, especially with the addition of some additional regulators in the Bureau of Gambling Control, to oversee Internet poker, and we urge an aye vote on this bill. Thank you.
Yes. I think we have one more at the table.
Hi, Sean Flanagan on behalf of the Sequan Tribe. We are in a supportive amended position. I just want to commend the author on all the tremendous work that's gone into this bill. The issues that remain on the table, I think we can come to a solution as we work through the process, and appreciate the author's willingness to come to the table on those issues. So thank you.
Great, and you guys were perfect on timing, so thank you. And now, do you feel like every coalition member had a chance to speak? Mr. Gray?
Yeah, you can see there's a long line of others.
And we will take Me Too's as well, but I just want to make sure you felt satisfied
I think that was great.
Great.
It's important, members, because there's never been this broad of support for this issue in the last decade.
Right. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, Pat Moran with the California Thoroughbred Trainers in support of the bill. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Louis Brown on behalf of the California Authority of Racing Fairs, Western Fairs Association, and the California Fairs Alliance, all in support of the bill.
Madam Chair, members, Kathy Christian representing the United Auburn Indian Community in support of the bill.
Good morning, Jerome Encinas on the behalf of the Rincon Band of Luiseno Indians in strong support of the bill.
Mel Osagai for Crystal Casino and Ocean's 11 Casino in support.
Madam Chair, members, Brian Lundgren on behalf of the Community for California Card Rooms in support of the bill.
Terry McHale with Aaron Reed and Associates representing California Grand Casino in support of the bill.
Hello, my name is John Valenzuela. I am president of the SCIU Local 280, and we represent the parimutuel clerks at California Horse Racing Facilities, and we support this bill.
My name is Patricia Valenzuela, and I'm a member of the SCIU Local 280. I work as a parimutuel clerk in the horse racing industry, and I support AB 2863.
Hello, my name's Irene Hayes, and I'm a member of the Local 280. I've worked as a parimutuel clerk for over 30 years in the horse racing industry, and I support AB 2863. Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Anthony Gonzalez. I represent Del Mar Thoroughbred Club and also Oak Tree Racing Association, which runs the race meet at the Alameda County Fair. We're in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members. Renee Bayardo, SCIU California. This bill will help improve the lives of our members. Ask for your support eventually.
Madam Chair, members, Robin Black on behalf of the Thoroughbred Owners of California and the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association in strong support of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, if we can get any other speakers in support, speakers in opposition. And I know we have various tribal chairs and vice chairs as well. We're, again, however you want to break it up for up to 6 minutes.
Good morning, Chairman.
Good? Okay. All right. There may be only two of us, but I promise you we'll take the full 6 minutes. Good morning, Madam Chair and members. I'm Jeff Gruby, Chairman of the Agua Caliente Band of Coy Indians. I have been engaged in this iPoker discussion for a decade in order to contribute to an iPoker bill that protects tribal interests and all Californians. We have supported previous iPoker efforts by Mr. Jones Sawyer, by former Senator Correa, and we are encouraged by Mr. Gatto's bill this session, so we are not obstructionists. Mr. Gray and I have communicated regularly and cordially during the recent series of stakeholder meetings. As opposed to our previous position, my tribe is now willing to accept the concept of a revenue stream for horse racing. However, the dollar amount needs to be refined. I don't think the current number is realistic given eye-poking revenues we have seen in other states, but that may be worked out. This was a major concession for us. I think the entry fee is too high as well, and the ongoing tax rate is too high. Nevada's tax rate is 6.8%, but those are also resolvable issues. However, the issue of who is suitable to be licensed and the tainted assets that illegal gaming operators accrued through unlawful gaming for 5 or more years are the matters that drive us to strongly oppose this measure. The entire bill hinges on these crucial issues from our point of view as well. As it now stands, even with the chair's amendments, we are firmly opposed to the bill. The new amendments proposed by the chair do provide the state with 10% of gross gaming revenue generated from the one-time entry fee and the ongoing tax. If I were you, I'd want that amount at least. Allowing half of the license deposit to be offset by the tax on gross gaming revenues is a compromise. Notably, the earlier versions of this bill let all the license deposit to be used and advanced against the tax on the gross gaming revenues. The June 7th version lets none of the deposit amount be used and advanced against the tax. However, requiring the Gambling Control Commission to limit the utilization of tainted assets by providing engaged internet gambling without a license, as some like PokerStars, Absolute Poker, and Full Tilt Poker, and others did for five or more years, have after Congress passed the Uniform Illegal Gaming Enforcement Act in October 2006, merits further discussion and examination before you act on this. There is no reason to push the bill through without your full consideration and with glaring problems. I do not know what the term bill limit the use of asset means, but none of the companies who gamed illegally paid any state taxes on their illegally earnings, totaling the tens or possibly hundreds of millions of dollars over those years. They or their successor corporations should not be able to use any of those assets or brands in California. That is the approach that the state of Nevada took, which is widely recognized as a leader in gaming regulation in the U.S. We think California deserves suitability standards no less stringent than that should apply to all entities or persons who violated the law after December 2006, when it was clearly illegal. But what strikes us more onerous provision is the proposed 5-year ban on participating in the California marketplace proposed for these intentional tax dodgers and violators of the law, unless the violator pays $20 million, in which case the illegally gotten gains are forgiven. This is the get-out-of-jail card. It's not anywhere near full restitution. It's not even a timeout. And entities who chose to break the law will gladly pay these fees without blinking an eye to enter this market. Just 6 months ago, Amaya PokerStars was hit with a penalty of $870 million by a judge in Kentucky for illegal gaming in the state. Kentucky is less than 1/10 the population of California. Can you imagine how much revenue they derived in California from 2006 to 2011? Now in Canada, the CEO of Amaya was hit with the insider trading charges stemming directly from the purchase of PokerStars. Troubles follow this company. Agua Caliente will strongly oppose any bill that encourages prospective providers who choose to violate the law to buy their way into the California market. So why are we willing to work so hard to make sure one particular entity can enter this market? Some companies made a conscious choice to violate the law 24 hours a day, 7 days a week from 2006 to 2011 to grow their brand, capture their market share, as other companies exited the market in order to comply with the law. Those entities that chose to violate the law by fraudulently disguising gambling activity so financial institutions would process illegal gaming transactions increased their market share from about 10% to over 50%. That is what happened. And now we have been asked to forget that for the low price of $20 million and jump through hoops to ensure that whatever suitability standard is in place doesn't include them. This is neither good law nor policy. For that reason, we respectfully ask you to not vote today for this measure, which, as a tax measure and as an urgency bill, will require 2/3 vote to passage from both houses. Thank you.
Thank you. You did use up the full 6 minutes. But you have the pleasure of having a very local vice chairman here for me, so we're going to give him a minute.
Try to be fast.
Because I have to go home at some point.
Good morning, Chairwoman and committee members. I'm Ray Welch, Vice Chairman of Bruno Band of Mission Indians, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. For us, internet poker is more than just a business decision. Policy choices we make today regarding gaming impact our tribal communities and our way of life. It wasn't long ago that our tribal members struggled to survive. Gaming has provided us with unprecedented opportunities for self-sufficiency. For example, we are now able to provide health care, education, fire protection, and law enforcement to our community. Verona alone employs 3,000 people and support the local communities in numerous ways. This has been possible due to the fact that we have been diligent about regulating our business and protecting our integrity of our operations. When we started gaming, many people said it was a matter of time before organized crime infiltrated our casinos. Being diligent, we have developed a strong reputation for running clean operations, following the law, and building cooperative relationships with state and local law enforcement. This bill would allow the use of assets acquired in flagrant violation of law to worm their way into California, minimizing the hard work we have done for the past 16 years to protect the integrity of gaming. If we allow this to go forward, all our efforts would have been for naught. For us, internet poker is the most impactful policy proposal since the compacts. This is about our future, and we do not take it lightly. We strongly believe we can reach a consensus on how to protect the integrity of iPoker and make it beneficial for Californians and all stakeholders. But today is not the day. This bill is not yet ready. While we have not had sufficient time to carefully consider the comment on amendments proposed by Chairwoman Gonzalez yesterday, based on our cursory review, we remain opposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. We'll go ahead and just state your position.
And I'm just along for the ride.
Okay. And then further speakers in opposition.
My name's Larry Stidham. I'm general counsel for the Lytton Rancheria of California. The tribe strongly opposes the bill.
Carolyn Veal-Hunter on behalf of Yochadehi Wintu Nation, and we align ourselves with the comments of the previous speakers and oppose the bill. Thank you.
David Quintana on behalf of the Viejas Manicumeay Indians. We fully appreciate how many years that this issue has been bubbling up, but a bad bill is still a bad bill, and a dirty company is still a dirty company. We strongly oppose.
Thank you. Just name, organization, and position, please.
Paula Treat on behalf of the Pechanga Band of Luiseño Indians in opposition.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. Corina Garbani Sanchez, Tribal Council Member with the Pechanga Band of Luiseño Indians, and we're in opposition. Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members. I'm Catalina Chacon, Tribal Councilwoman, and I oppose the bill.
Good morning, Mike Valines on behalf of Table Mountain Rancheria. We oppose the bill.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Paul Bauer on behalf of the Coalition to Stop Internet Gaming in opposition to the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Department of Finance?
No file.
Shocking. All right. Before I open it up for questions or comments, I do want to be clear what the author and I have agreed upon. We have been working hard, and I think some of what was said was true. And as far as the considerations for the state of California, we agreed that, I believe we have agreed that the ensuring that California gets a percentage if our gaming revenue doesn't meet the level by which the money goes directly to horse racing and we get nothing. So I think we've agreed to that, and that's one of the amendments that we will set aside. I think we've agreed to that, as well as reducing by credit the fee, the initial fee, and it seems like there is broad support of those two measures. We have some disagreements, the author and I, on the language, I think, in the other amendments. And I think we're trying to get to what I believe to be a fiscal issue. And that is, two fiscal issues, quite frankly. One is there are people who operated in California and never paid taxes for a number of years. And that creates, in my mind, an unfair advantage and allowed them to keep money that other providers don't have. With an unfair advantage, we have the possibility of one company coming in with such severe market share that other companies can't compete. If we want, I believe, from a fiscal consideration, if we want a long-term, healthy iPoker market, that we have to ensure that we have a system by which all competitors can compete from the beginning. So my amendments were an effort to try to reach that position where California, if we engage in this activity, that we have the ability of all operators to start off on the same or similar footing. It may not be the perfect amendment or compromise. I think people know what I was trying to get at. I think the Chair Gio, the author, has some other ways that he thinks maybe we can get at the same thing. And so we've made a determination that we can, this is unusual, but I think probably the way bills should go, that he'd like to counter those amendments with another way by which to get there. And so we're willing to work on those together. I want to be clear, though, the recommendation was do pass as amended with these issues taken into account. We are trying to get to a bill. And I imagine we will get back with a do pass as amended recommendation in the next 2 weeks as well. So with that, do you want to respond to that?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the committee for their hard work. And I think that that represents the nature of our discussions over the course of the past week. Members, this is a highly charged, complicated issue. There's a number of red herrings and misdirection that have been thrown out, which is why this has taken almost a decade now to get a vote out of a couple of committees. Having said that, I feel confident in the product that I brought here today. I think the spirit of the chair and the committee's amendments are the right spirit. I think we're not in disagreement, as the chair said, on the nature of what we're trying to accomplish with those amendments. Certainly the two fiscal amendments you mentioned, there's broad agreement on, and happy to incorporate those, going forward. But on the issue of suitability, I think perhaps the proposed amendments and analysis could create more problems than they solve. And again, the spirit of those amendments, I think, is the proper one, and that's where the chair and I determined it's worth taking the time. We often talk about this. Sometimes we do our bills around here more based on a calendar than on good public policy, and the approach I've taken on this bill is good public policy. We've had hours and hours and hours of stakeholder meetings over the course of the last 2 years. We've had informational hearings that have gone hours. We have had updates to those of you, and I know some of you on this committee also sit on my committee. We've had updates to the committee members. I know most of you don't use the full body of 80 to write your bills. In this case, we kind of have. The chair and I have spent some time trying to get at some suitability language that makes sense. The one thing, and this may be a little bit at the heart of our disagreement, quote unquote, is I have determined from the beginning of this effort that market share should be the least of the state's concerns, legislating that, but rather making sure that we have a consumer protection level playing field, to the chair's comments on making sure that there's a strong market that includes multiple competitors. That is, in fact, I think, a good goal. But we don't want to get in the business of trying to draft language that targets any one company or another. You mentioned, Madam Chair, that companies that operate in the state without paying taxes. I would amend that comment to say companies that are still operating. Any one of us can go play iPoker right now, and you're not going to pay any taxes, and you're not going to be protected. Your information is not going to be protected. And it may look like the site, you have no idea if it's offshore or if it's here. You as a consumer aren't going to be informed on that. That's the danger we're trying to address here. We have activities that go on every single day. Millions of Californians engage in them. And we want to have a regulated, safe marketplace where people do pay taxes. I think we do. And certainly even the current language excludes those folks who will continue to operate illegally in this state from continuing to operate. And that's the heart of what we're trying to get at. I appreciate the committee's willingness to do something a little out of the ordinary in working another week, maybe 2 weeks, to refine the suitability language further and come back with something we could all support going forward. I think we are very close. Again, this has been a long time coming. It is a difficult issue. That's why it's taken a decade, but I think we can get it done this year, and I think we are very close, and I appreciate each and every one of you helping us close this out.
Thank you. Vice Chairman.